Hello from Tokyo, Japan. My name is Gary Verheller, and I'll be your host for what we call the Substance of Living podcast. Today, we'll look at what we call life's lessons. And I hope this will provide you with some insight, maybe even some inspiration to life's challenges. Hello, and welcome to this special edition for Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving edition. I love Thanksgiving. And a long time ago, I learned that Thanksgiving means giving thanks. And I'm not so much into the whole idea of massive amounts of food and watching football, American football on TV. And it's a reflective time for me. And I'm filled with gratitude and appreciation. So let me tell you my story of how that came to be. And when did real gratitude, when did true appreciation hit me? Well, I was a security officer in a hospital. And if you've ever been a patient in a hospital, it is really difficult. One, it's boring. You have to stay in bed, or you have to limit your activity. You're confined, essentially. And reading books and watching TV and looking at magazines, it can get just really tiresome. Plus, sometimes you have abject fear. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to recover? What's going to happen? One time when I was in the hospital, I actually thought I was going to lose my right arm. Fear was just overwhelmed me, and being unsure about what the future would hold for me. So, when I was a security officer, having had some experience as a patient in a hospital, I promised myself that I would go from the 10th floor, which was the highest floor in the hospital, and I would say hello to every patient and to every doctor, to every nurse, to every medical professional. I would say hello. I was dressed like an Albuquerque police officer. The uniforms were the same, the badges were different. And that's what I looked like. I looked like a police officer. And it was then when I first began to realize how fortunate I was. I'd seen life and death in the emergency rooms. And I thought, life is so fragile, it can be gone in an instant. We've certainly learned that with COVID, how quickly that can overcome somebody and they can succumb, they can die. More importantly though, as I was making my rounds, I came to the brain injury unit. Many of these people had been in car accidents and they had trauma to the brain. And I remember seeing one of my college professors learning how to button his shirt, learning how to use a fork again. And I thought, good God, I'm so lucky. And I thought, I'm so lucky just to be alive. I'm lucky to have two eyes that can see, I can hear, I can taste, I can touch. I have two hands, I have two arms, I have two legs, 2 feet. I'm mobile. I am so very lucky. Life is good. What really affected me was when I would go on the pediatric oncology ward. That's children with cancer. These bright-eyed, wonderful children, kids, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, suffering from chemotherapy, no hair, no eyebrows. But they would see me and, Mr. Security, Mr. Security. And one kid would grab my leg and, hi, how you doing? Hi, Mr. Gary. They were terminally ill. I don't know if they knew they were going to die. but they were terminally ill. And I thought, good God, I'm just so lucky. And what put it over the top, I was in the emergency room one night, and a young man was brought in by an ambulance. His car was hit by a drunk driver head on. And his family came rushing in, and I had to be with the family. And the doctor took the family and in front of the boy. He was about 18, 19 years old. And the doctor said, "I'm afraid your son will never walk again." And the kid lifted himself up on his elbows, sat up a little bit. He looked at the doctor and he said, "I will walk out of this hospital." Every day I went to work, I made sure I went through the physical therapy department. And there were parallel bars. And he was pouring sweat, determined to make his legs work. And I would see him every day, and I got to call him Champ. I started to call him Champ for champion. "Hey, Champ, how's it going?" And he'd say, "Hey, Gare, how you doing?" I said, "Come on, you can do another round. Come on, do it again." And I was so inspired by him. No one thought he would walk. No one thought he would walk. But he never gave up. Every day for hours he was working on those parallel bars, just trying to get his legs to work, throwing one leg in front of the other. It was just amazing. The day came that he was going to be discharged from the hospital, and he asked me to go with him. So the nurses put him in a wheelchair, and that's common practice for any patient being discharged. Took him down to the first floor. The father and mother pulled up to the entranceway, and we started out towards the car, and he said, "Stop." So we stopped. He said, "Lock the wheels." We locked the wheels. He got up, standing, and he walked 3 steps into his father's arms. And that's when I realized I must live the best life I can in honor of those kids that were dying of cancer, in honor of my professor who was just learning to simply survive, in honor of Champ who taught me never, never, never give up, that life is what I make it. And I'm so grateful to them. I'm so grateful to them. And because of them, I had $1,000 in my pocket and a round trip to Tokyo, Japan. And I took the leap of faith. I lived one of my dreams, and it forever changed my life. And I'm so grateful for all those experiences, for all the people that have taught me, for all the people who have inspired me, for all the people who have believed in me. I'm so grateful. And at this time of year, it reminds me to give thanks. My life has been shaped and formed and assisted and helped and supported by so many countless other people. And I'm so grateful. I wish you the best of Thanksgivings. And I hope you have an opportunity to give thanks. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining us today for the Substance of Living podcast. If you'd be kind enough to consider subscribing, you can contact us through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or connect on Twitter. Join us again next time for what I hope will help you navigate life.